Brent, you've got some experience with explosives. What's some good technical controls that we can use for next year?
Yeah, so when I look or listen to Leonard's story, I kind of hear a couple things, and I look at, okay, we've got some low altitude, fireworks that are going off too early or too late potentially, right? So then I question, what's Leonard's supply chain, and are there risks associated with that supply chain? Where is he getting those fireworks from? Is it truly a reputable source, or have they been tampered with to make them potentially less safe? So there's
China.
that aspect of it. And that's
they come from China.
Welcome to another DirectConnect. We got the whole gang here. We got Bryan, Carr, Brent Castagnetto, Leonard, Chamberlin, myself, Nick Weber. How y'all doing?
Very good.
Fantastic.
Let's do a quick finger check after the 4th of July or Canada Day for those up north.
All 10.
Kind of suspiciously slow there, Leonard. Where's the other hand?
Oh, that
He's like, I don't.
was my John Cena
know.
impression for the day.
So for those on the audio side, everybody still has all their digits. Survived or at least all the ones they went into the weekend with. We'll start with that. Did have some good incidents. I know Leonard had an experience that I think most of us have had at some point with a fireworks mishap, we'll call it. I think the worst one I ever had was a few years ago. I had an old firework that I threw in there anyway, a couple of years old, and it didn't get up as high as it should have before it exploded, and that was, we'll say, spicy. But I don't know, Leonard, do you want to talk through the harrowing experience at the Chamberlin household?
Sure. Yeah, and I would say that
We need to check and make sure there's a
low
statute of
altitude
limitations.
Yeah, low altitude explosions are not limited to older fireworks. That happened with quite a few of ours that didn't seem to reach the proper altitude, and it's like, wow, that should have gone a couple hundred feet higher probably. But definitely have some lessons learned to share from our 4th of July extravaganza here in Texas. We are lucky that fireworks are not illegal, and I've heard tale of some of the larger ones we enjoy. Can't buy those other places. So for those of y'all that live there, I'm sorry to hear that. But it was a pretty windy day, and one thing I would certainly suggest is if the wind shifts on you and you're in the fallout area for the wind blowing in your direction or fallout from shrapnel and whatnot exploding, move your viewing area. And if the wind shifts again, move your viewing area again. A couple people also didn't understand proper fireworks safety, and we have a cul-de-sac in our neighborhood where we were celebrating, and some people were going out there and launching other fireworks or just hurling them out there while people were already out there lighting. So it's kind of like going to a water park, right? You don't send the next kid down the slide until everybody's out of the way. But
Well, how do you do the snake then?
The most concerning incident was near the tail end, and we had one smaller firework, but apparently it was a mortar-based one that was big explosion, and looked like the wind tipped it over right after it was lit and launched straight into our viewing area. Luckily no one was seriously injured, just a few minor bruises and cuts. But again, you take the precautions, but still there probably should think further through. Maybe there's a way to secure the fireworks so that tipping over is not possible, and they're always going to shoot up straight up instead of out into your viewing area. 3D is fun, but not when it injures you.
Well, like 40, isn't it?
That's maybe akin to procedural controls that didn't quite get the job done. Need some technical controls to go with those fireworks.
Say some of your procedural controls sound like they might have been ignored there. I don't know, Brent. You've got some experience with explosives. What's some good technical controls that we can use for next year?
Yeah, so when I look or listen to Leonard's story, I kind of hear a couple things, and I look at, okay, we've got some low altitude, fireworks that are going off too early or too late potentially, right? So then I questioned, what's Leonard's supply chain, and are there risks associated with that supply chain? Where is he getting those fireworks from? Is it truly a reputable source, or have they been tampered with to make them potentially less safe? So there's that aspect of it. And
They come from China.
From China. Oh, okay. I didn't know where they were typically made, but yeah.
I don't know.
So one of the other things that I've done, I love fireworks. I'm passionate about them. Do a big show every 4th of July. And one of the things I've learned from sad experience like Leonard is you've got to have a technical control in place to prevent that tipping, right? So you think about things like, can I block it with some cinder blocks, or build some type of a unit that'll house it and secure it from tipping over, prevent it from tipping over, so you don't cause some of those issues. Additionally, like you said, Leonard, I think having a designated individual who is responsible, like a sub-senior manager that's responsible for lighting the fireworks effectively, can lend some more, can add to the safety and enjoyment for everybody else. So there's a lot of parallels you can draw from a fireworks show to an audit engagement or any type of incident that you've gone through potentially.
What about you, Bryan? What kind of comparisons for the author of An Audit's Like an Onion? What do you got from Cul-de-sac de Fuego down there in Utah?
Yeah, we had we've had similar experiences shared. We too have a cul-de-sac here that we gather in, and there's been a few mishaps over the years. Drawing some of those parallels as Brent and Leonard have done. I would say in the preparation side of things, before you even start, making sure you have the right tools, you have the right people. We always have several buckets of water available. We bring in sandbags, instead of like cinder blocks or whatever to block different fireworks. But those preparations, I think, Leonard, you hit on one that was changing conditions. Whether that's in the compliance world, whether it's during an audit, things change and you need to be ready to pivot or adjust accordingly. I think a lot of folks get stuck. We have some people in our neighborhood that really want these, this great seating spot on somebody's lawn, and they get comfortable and really don't want to move, and the wind will change again, we won't get showered on or whatever. You have to be willing to adjust to keep things safe, but the same in the compliance world. There's constant adjustment needed. But yeah, I really focus on a lot of the preparation. What's leading up to it, what's looking at current conditions, looking at how many people are out there, looking at what it is we have to do. Again, drawing parallels to compliance, whether it's prepping for an audit, whether it's something as simple as prepping to install patches. There are activities that occur prior to actually lighting the fuse, so to speak, that you need to do and you need to consistently do. One of our mishaps this year, and maybe I'll forward the video and we'll get a little video snippet in here. It was quite entertaining. We light off various fireworks, there's various mortars and, cakes or whatever you want to call them. And they all have, pretty good sized fuse on them that burn at a certain rate. I happen to have I think it was a 5,000 roll of firecrackers, or Black Cat firecrackers, that I'd had left over from last year. So I pulled that out. Well, in all of our, exuberance and darkness, the fuse is very short on that, and the fuse is very fast.
Okay.
My son was lighting it, and I was videoing because it was going to be great. Well, it turned out even better than I expected, because a good chunk of the video is us running away because the thing literally just almost blew up in our faces because the fuse was so short. So talking about changing conditions or changing equipment, different things act differently, whether it's technology or whether it's firecrackers, I guess. So there's a lot of lessons to be learned there as well.
I have one comment and one question for Bryan on this specific issue.
Uh-oh.
My comment is, just to be clear, those Black Cat firecrackers were lit off in Wyoming, as I understand it, correctly?
Absolutely, yeah. Our cul-de-sac actually is annexed into Wyoming, so they're perfectly legal there.
And my question is, thank you for that. And my question is, Was Aaron a SIP senior manager delegate who was authorized to light the firework?
Yeah, that's something we're going to have to address going forward. I think that's one of our lessons learned. I can't say that he was
Probably an area of concern from my perspective.
officially delegated to perform those actions. Nor
Was he provided quarterly awareness training? Is his annual SIP training up to date?
Yeah, I don't know about all those things. I know his qualifications are definitely suspect.
Well,
There's a lot to be desired there. So
you have to go back to the trainer on that one.
yeah, that's probably true. Those are great questions, Brent.
One of my favorite memories from when I was younger was somebody showed up with bottle rockets, and one of them went into a dry field next door. And I remember all my uncles and grandpa and a couple of my aunts and in a hams-fueled response effort doing a bucket brigade with anything they could to hold water. And all of a sudden, every year after that, we had a pretty long garden hose ready to go after that. So the lesson learned there that became part of the incident response plan unofficially.
Yeah, that's actually a scary one to learn. When I was really young, we're at some in-laws, and it was afterwards where they had kind of piled up all the fireworks, right? All the carcasses, whatever you want to call it, and it caught fire. Like the pile, they were still smoldering. Just a couple of years ago, we had a neighbor, even after me telling him a couple of times not to throw stuff in his trash can until the next morning, he had put a few things in there, and it ended up catching something else on fire in the trash can. And so, yeah, we're pretty adamant about having the hose and just letting things sit, on the curb until the next morning for those kind of things. So, yeah, important lessons learned there as well.
Yeah, it seems strange, but how much of that we actually take forward, not even thinking about it from our utility world, whether it's the safety side and thinking through things and having it at least in the back of our mind, an incident response plan, maybe not fully baked out one. Where would the fun that be? But I don't know. Have you guys gone through any safety briefings, even informally? I know I've done that with my kids as they're starting to get old enough to do some of their own. It's like, all right, don't hold it in your hand. I know they're going to do it, but I have to say it.
Yeah. Don't lean your face over it. Some of those, like while you're lighting it, Yeah.
Don't go check it too soon.
Yep. Yeah. We've got a few of those. We have to remind the kids not run up on them right after they're allegedly done, shooting off. So definitely have some of those aspects but it's, we as parents run a lifetime reminder service. So it's constantly, hey, don't do that. Hey, don't do that. And I guess if it's a neighbor's kid, he can stop reminding him once, but if it's your own,
one way or the other.
Yeah.
I actually have a T-shirt that says, "If I run, you run."
Yeah.
To make everybody aware. If I'm running, we probably have an issue, and you're going to want to vacate the premises immediately.
Yeah. There you go.
Is that for audits or fireworks?
Both.
Okay.
You should wear that to every incident response plan, exercise. I mean, all of it. It should be
Always
the standard
ready.
shirt.
Always ready.
All right. Any other thoughts on how compliance is like a fireworks display?
Oh, is that our topic?
Well, or security, honestly. End up with a lot of blinky lights on your dashboard. That's not a good day either, but it looks pretty. So this time of year, instead of the Christmas tree, it's the fireworks display.
Yep. I think there's a little bit of this. I mean, we always say there's no compliance emergencies, which is mostly true, but expecting the unexpected. When we're participating in 4th of July festivities, like we're pretty high alert, like watching, who's coming, whether it's a car coming down the street, or whatever it is. You're trying to anticipate some of those issues ahead of time, and in compliance, there's a bit of that as well. So I think there's a parallel to be drawn there, as well as your situational awareness, what's going on around you, what's happening. We could tie all that in. I mean, we could go on and on, but expect the unexpected, because when it comes to fireworks, there's oftentimes some of that.
Not firework related, but parting thought from me. Regardless what anyone tells you, do not cook all of your hamburgers to well done. No one is going to eat them. Even though I was told, oh, that's what everybody wants. No, everybody wants medium rare. Come on now.
So you're saying don't get all your patches from one source?
I'm concerned that you heeded that advice, Leonard. That seems unlike you.
I think they may revoke your Texan status now on that one.
I didn't mention where the direction came from, and I'll leave it at that.
Understood.
How about you, Brent? Any more thoughts on how the parallel between the two?
No, I love the concept, like Bryan brought up, of preparation. I think that's key, so that we don't find ourselves with an issue where we're running an incident response and then, heaven forbid, recovering. Right? There's always the stories in every neighborhood every year about how someone dealt with one, a rogue firework that got loose. Having that hose available, having the buckets of water, making sure there's designated folks that are actually walking out into the street, and then being aware of other shows that are going on around you. Not everybody's going to be as safe as you, so you got to be aware of your neighbors as well. So I think there's a lot of parallels you can draw from a safety perspective that really resonate from a compliance and a security perspective. So no, it's a great time of year, great fun time of year, but just advising folks from our vast knowledge of experience and expertise on things going wrong to say, hey, these are some things you can look at and draw some parallels over to the compliance space.
Related to change management, a couple of years ago where the weather was just crazy dry. It was dry to popcorn fart out there, and we made the decision, no fireworks that year. We had a back out plan. We had a great New Year's Eve that year, but we looked at it and said, you know what, we're going down to the lake and we're going to watch the professional show where if they burn something down there, I'm not getting sued. So we had that. We had all the fireworks ready to go. We had everything set up, but weather just didn't cooperate. So we pulled it back and waited until the snow flew because it was just a real dry summer and didn't want to be involved in that. So kind of similar to change management. Sometimes it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, and you got to be able to back out.
I would say too, as we're talking about lessons learned, don't keep them amongst this group. Share them with everyone that has a role and responsibility in your 4th of July, plan for next year. That way, everyone.
What if they're really embarrassing though?
Those are good teaching opportunities, Nick.
Is that when you say you have a friend? I have a friend at a neighboring utility.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my uncle knows a guy.
It's all about the delivery.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'm glad we were able to tie something topical and have a little bit of fun talking about our fireworks mishaps, but relate it back to the compliance and security world. I think we can find those lessons and parallels in just about everything we do. So, been great catching up with y'all, and glad to see that everyone survived.
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
cul-de-sac de Fuego stayed controlled. So,
Indeed.
all right. Till next time. Take care.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Take it easy.